Well, here we are at the start of another week. I just wanted to show you the engine cowl before I take it back off again. It's virtually finished. This chrome looking part is actually a stainless steel heat shield. When the engine's fitted, the cylinders are here, radially around here. The exhaust system is all but touching, well, it's a very small distance away from this heat shield. And the purpose of the heat shield is not to burn the paint off the fiberglass cowling or to damage the cowling. I really don't think it's necessary. I think it's like 95% decorative and only 5% functional. But against the orange, it looks, I think, pretty damn nice. Now, so this is all done now. The heat shield is actually spaced away from the cowling by a couple of millimetres. Have a look from the side here. But yeah, it's just spaced away a little bit. Let's back out a little bit so you can see. But yeah, the two cowl halves, the top and the bottom half, are held together with a hinge with a hinge pin, and the hinge pin's nailed back to the fuselage. It's attached by bolts, 1032 bolts around the place. Eventually those bolts will have these penny washers underneath, which are just a penny washer that'll go under the bolt, just to spread the load a little bit on the fiberglass cowling. There's no need to fit them now. They're painted. I don't want to tear the paint off by installing them and taking them off and putting them on and taking them off. So they'll be stored along with the bolts, and that's it. I'll just show you this. I'll try and show you the space between the cowl and the heat shield. Yeah, but in any case, there is space. Okay, there is space. There's space between the two. But yeah, there you go. So now this will come off. It'll come off in one piece. I won't bother separating it to get it off. Obviously, it has to be separated to put it back on again. But that's what it looks like. I'm getting there, slowly. The next job is to go and get one of the engine stands and attach it to the firewall, so I can actually start putting the fabric on the fuselage. I've made the executive decision that that's what's going to happen next. Well, the undercarriage has to come off as well, and all that sort of thing, and it can be painted and so on, and fabric covered and everything else. But essentially, the fuselage covering is going to be next. Well, here we are, Wednesday afternoon. I just want to do a little bit of an interim update. I've put this really very jury-rigged rollover mechanism on the firewall, so that the intention is to roll the fuselage all the way over to the right and all the way over to the left. and cover one side, then roll it the other way and cover the other side. In order to do that, the undercarriage needs to come off, but that's okay because the undercarriage needs to be fabric covered as well. So it has to be off for that purpose. I guess the thing to look out for at this point in time is I've got to take the undercarriage bungees off. A lot of stored energy, and yeah, so you've just got to be extremely careful. I'm going to set the camera up and show you how I'll take one off. I may not talk you through it, I'll just do it. Okay, but that's where we are. The wheels are off over here, the brakes are off, they're here on the bench in amongst all this rubbish, and they've been marked left and right, so they'll go back in the same location. So anyway, let's get into it. All right, step one, I will try and talk you through it. You may be able to hear me, you may not, I don't know. But anyway, step one is to get rid of this, this tie-down strap. I put it on there because if you have a look, this is one bungee, and over here there's two. And one is not quite enough to hold the weight of the fuselage as it was with the engine on. So I put this strap across between the two legs to hold the legs together. So now we can take it off. I'll take this one bungee, I'll try and work where you can see me. Now, you just got to slip the bungee over the bolt, which we need a little bit of help. Yes, here's my little helper. Up and over the bolt. Doesn't help if you see seatbelt's in the way. Right, now there's no gently letting the pressure off a tie-down strap, unfortunately. There you go, and I think I'm still alive, I'm not sure, but that's it, there's the bungee released. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. So the bungee would normally put load on this telescoping part here. That's as far as the travel goes. Mind you, at that much travel, the top of the wheel's almost touching the underside of the wing, which you couldn't see, of course. Oh, maybe you could. But yeah, there's a fair bit of travel. But that's basically how you deal with the bungees. And just one more thing that I wanted to show you before I pack up. Here's the bungees come, the ones I use, and they may not be right for your aeroplane, but they're good for mine. These are I'll show you the label. This is the part you're looking at on the bottom where it says shock cord ring 9010HD. The 90 I think is 9/16 of an inch. The 10 is 10 inches in diameter, something like that. I might be wrong. And yeah, heavy duty. The colours on the ring. This one's red and two reds and a green. These ones are two blacks and a green. That gives you the date. You can decipher that to work out the date of manufacture. I've got 6 of them all together, and I intend fitting 3 on each side of the aeroplane. If 3's, I'll probably start with 2 and then add the third one. But you sort of have to add them when the undercarriage goes together, or you've got to pull half the undercarriage apart to get another one on. Because if you have a look, that ring we just took off is captured. It can't come out of there. Yeah? So we've got to take this telescoping part off to get the ring out. So rather than go through all that routine, I'm going to put 3 rings on each side. And if I only use 2, I'll use 2 and just cable tie the other one up out of the way. But anyway, that's it. I'll go ahead and take the other 2 off. And there you go. Okay, here we are with the rollover stand fitted up. This has been a long time coming, you know that. Ideally it should have been up here in the middle. I wouldn't have to use the crane to lower it down. It's probably a little bit heavy for me to lift. I can do it, but I prefer to have the crane. Simple as that. Okay, while it's been on its side, I've taken the undercarriage off. The undercarriage is in the paint shop there. Part of it down that end and some up this end. That has to be painted prior to fabric. And also prior to the fabric, I need to finish these pieces. These are the undercarriage fairings, I suppose. This is what I've got so far, which is not nearly correct. I need a bigger radius here. The biggest I had was 1/2 inch, so I've ordered a 7/8, and hopefully that'll be sufficient. So when that comes, I'll finish those fairings. The fairings can then be glued to the legs, and the legs can be while the aeroplane's on its side, and before I start covering, and I'll probably start covering in the morning. I've got some water on the floor here, which I don't really want there when I'm running around with fabric. So I'll clean that up in the morning and start doing the fabric. I will start the fabric on the turtle deck, up on the turtle deck, and I'll bring it down to the keel tube. I want to do this left-hand side first, and then I'll start on the turtle deck on the other side and come down and overlap the fabric probably up to about here somewhere on this side. But I just happen to be ready with my trusty hammer. This piece here, this piece of tin needs to be hammered down so that it doesn't interfere with the fabric, because it's going to be one piece of fabric comes over here. So I'll hammer it down so it's not sitting proud, and then I'll put some anti-chafing tape over the top of it. So yeah, that's my next few minutes of work, is preparing that that edge for the anti-chafing tape. Where are we? About there somewhere. I'm not going to bore you with all of this, but you just hit it down. The crane's not totally dedicated, it's not lifting a heavy load. More than anything, it's stopping it from falling over if something goes wrong, especially with the rollover stand. If something goes wrong with that, the crane's the backup. Failing that, I've got one of my sawhorses on the other side, under the cabane struts. Okay, do you remember this one? It's not easy to do with gloves on, and of course I don't need gloves at the moment, so let's get rid of the gloves. This is a woven fabric tape. I don't know whether you can see it. Probably not. But anyway, it's a bit like a bandage type thing. It looks like it should belong in a hospital rather than on an aeroplane. But anyhow, it's going to go on an aeroplane. Now, a little bit here where you can't see. A little bit here right at the front. And all it's doing is blending the fiberglass engine fairing into this longeron, main longeron. That's all we need. We just need it cut off there. This doesn't stick very well, but I'm going to glue it down with some Eco-Bond, so it'll stick very well then. And then along here, I want to come along just on top of, where are you looking? Just on top of this rivet line, just above the rivet line with the tape, about there and there. We'll worry about smoothing it later. But the object is to cover this sharp edge. I don't want the tape. I don't want the fabric cutting itself on the sharp edge. That'd be bad. That'd probably wreck your entire day, or at least a fair portion of it. Easy peasy. Just go along and glue that down, and it'll be happy. I don't know if I mentioned, I've already primered the keel. I don't know whether I mentioned that before or not, but it is. So it's ready for fabric as well. I think everything is about as ready as I can get it. Now this is why I had the gloves on from the other side. I glued the same tape on the other side. So just a little bit of glue. Actually a fair bit of glue in this particular location. And then after that, it doesn't need to be much. That's about all it needs. Go along here a bit. Glue it underneath. The glue will penetrate the fabric, will penetrate the fabric that okay, we can just clean it up a little bit with just a piece of cloth. While it's still wet, it'll wipe off. That looks pretty neat. Okay, it's Friday afternoon here, and I want to get this video out tonight, so I'll take you for a quick look in the paint shop. You can have a look at the undercarriage parts, and then we'll call that it. Yeah, let's have a look. Okay, nice warm lights in here. Got the one undercarriage there, the other one over here. They're, like I say, these ones are waiting on the fairing. Once the fairing's on, then the fabric can go on. They shouldn't, hopefully, shouldn't be all that difficult to fabric cover. Okay, but that's it. I'll do the, try and get your feet off the ground business, but if I walk outside now, I'd probably get my feet off the ground. The wind's only probably about 400 kilometres an hour, so the chances of me getting my feet off the ground today are probably slim to none. But anyway, that's where we are. My crazy rollover stand seems to work. Balance is a bit of a problem. Oh, there's a line I marked on the turtle deck. The fabric will probably start roughly about here. It's about 3 inches from this edge, about 3 inches there, and then the fabric will go from there to there, to there, to there, and so on. But we'll see that when I do. This is the side I'm going to do first, the side that's up at the moment. So let's see how that goes, how it plays out. But anyway, that's it. Have a good weekend. Whatever you get up to, try and enjoy it. Get some crazy shots for you here. But yeah, it's good. So clean the hanger floor tomorrow before I unfurl the fabric. As usual, that's the fabrics over here on the bench. I'm going to use the medium weight fabric again. This is it here. I've got the undercarriage and the two sides of the fuselage, and there should be plenty of fabric there to do that. Matter of fact, the undercarriage parts can probably be done with that fabric, which are off-cut pieces from other jobs. So there we go. Oh, one more thing, one tiny little thing. There's been a little bit of progress on the other Renegade. That little bit of progress is I've bought a second-hand engine. Rather than just throw it in and hope for the best, I'm probably going to have it rebuilt first. But yeah, I shudder to think what it's going to cost me to get a rebuilt 582. Pretty much guarantee it'll be the cost of a new one. But anyway, that's where we are. Have a good weekend, and I'll catch up with you next Friday. Bye now.